Welcome, everybody. It is August 28th, the last Sunday in August. Wow. And this is the Morgellons Call of the Week. I am Robin, the co-host. So glad to be here. And our topic this week is going to be how to avoid temptation on the diet. So that's going to be very exciting to me. I'm always tempted. And at this point, I am so grateful for the diet. I'm so grateful for the book. I'm so grateful for this community. And especially, I am so grateful for Richard Kuhns, who wrote the book, How to Get Your Life Back from Morgellons and Skin Parasites, 11 times. And never stops researching, never stops learning, cares deeply about us and about helping people get their life back. He is an expert on this stuff. He's been in the trenches. He's experienced it with us. So he knows on a level that doctors don't know. And he shares that knowledge. So at this point, I would like to introduce Richard Kuhns. Welcome, Richard.
Thank you, Robin. It's a pleasure to be here. Our topic today, first of all, just to be governmentally safe, the FDA requires me to inform everybody on the call that before you start the King Diet, which is the topic of today's call, actually more precisely how to stick to it and avoid temptation, which can be disastrous. So before you start the King Diet or accept any of our recommendations, that you are to thoroughly discuss them with your medical doctor to make sure they do not interfere with any health problems. The AMA and FDA also require me to inform you that we are not trained medical doctors. Legally, we do not diagnose. We do not treat or claim that we can cure or mitigate your disease or any disease. We are legally allowed to educate you how to utilize the King Diet, which is what this program is about and what the protocol is based on. How to clean the organisms out of your environment, and everybody on this call is dealing with organisms of some kind that have gone rampant in their bodies and in their environment. So how to clean them out of your environment and how to clean them out of your skin and how to build health and immune functioning through targeted supplements. So the diet. I will not beat around the bush. The diet has 3 stages. Stage 1 is very, very strict. It is not for the lighthearted. I mean, if you just have minor itching and occasional bites or whatever, you're probably not going to stick with it. It's probably not going to be your thing. This program is for people like me and Robin who were driven nuts and crazy and found no relief anywhere and would be awakened at 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. with the things driving us out of our beds into a bathtub or scalding hot water or something to get some kind of relief. This is what this program is for. Now, with regards to skin parasites, everybody is affected differently. I mean, many of you may be dramatically infected and yet still live with others who are minimally affected and think you're crazy, which is a terrible situation to be in, but sometimes that's the situation. So not everybody is affected to the same degree. So typically the people who are in this program who are going to do this diet, they are going to do it for one reason and one reason only, and it's the same damn reason I did it, and that is I'd rather be on that diet than itch and feel biting 24/7. No other reason. Now, yes, there are health benefits. This happens to be a very healthy diet, and people always tell me when they've gotten their lives back that they're healthier after having dealt with organisms than before. It is a lifestyle change, and it has 3 stages. So with that in mind, how to avoid cheating. Well, step one is to prepare to be on this diet. So, Robin, what did you do when you started reading the diet or whatever? What did you do to prepare? How about vitamins and minerals and all those kind of things? What did you do?
Well, after I made all the mistakes you can make.
Well, even before that, before just to get the diet going.
Right. I went through my cupboard and looked at every vitamin I had. I read all the ingredients, and then I put them in a box and put them away.
Why did you do that?
Because they're not on the diet, and it only takes one ingredient to mess the diet up.
Yeah. One little diglyceride ingredient is going to mess up the diet, and there are dozens of other ingredients that could be listed. So the safe thing is, don't even think you're going to use the vitamins that you now have or your supplements. Put them away. When you get to stage 3, bring them out and use them. What else did you do?
I went through my cupboards and got rid of foods, flavored coffees, cookies, crackers.
Oh my God, you're tearing me apart. You're killing me.
And I took them all to a food pantry.
Okay. And then what did you do?
And then I went through my fridge and did the same thing.
Okay. So you cleaned out the cupboards and the refrigerator and every place you store your food, cleaned out everything that was not on the diet.
Right. Of course, before I did that, I had to read the diet over and over and over. And then I had the diet with me, and I'd look at what I had in my cupboard or my fridge, and I'd make a list of what wasn't on the diet, and then I would get rid of it.
Right. Okay. And then so after you did that, and you now know what's on the diet, what was the next step? What did you do next when you went to the grocery store?
I would make a list.
A list?
What a concept.
No more memory, huh? No more memory.
I mean, you can bring the diet with you on your phone.
Yes, you can.
You know, but it's not the complete diet. And so I would have the diet in the book in front of me, and then I would make a list of what I want and what I need, and then I would compare it with the diet and cross things out that didn't work and look for alternatives that did, and then I would go shopping and stick with my list.
Great. All right, so step number 1 is to prepare. It takes some organization, it takes some time to prepare to start this diet. Because if you don't get the junk out of the cabinets and out of the refrigerator or the ice cream out of the freezer, you're going to have temptations. It's going to be there. And it's so much easier to fall prey to those temptations. And every time you make a little tiny mistake, you have just one little tic-tac breath mint. And what happens, Robin?
Oh, it's awful. It could be days of misery.
You know,
initially.
Yeah, initially. It might be an hour or two or a couple days. It depends on how many Tic Tacs you've had, or
Right.
if you went out to a restaurant and had a marinated steak. My God, you're talking about a week of misery. Oh, wow. So it depends on how badly you screw it up or how badly you what you eat as to how long the misery will last until the diet gets back in shape again. So now, it's kind of ironic because, yes.
The other thing is that when you have your list or bring the diet with you, the thing that made all the difference for me with getting the diet to kick in was actually reading every friggin' label. Pardon my French.
Right.
Because the first mistake I made was bought stevia that had sugars in it. And
why would they put sugar in stevia? Isn't it a sugar substitute?
Mm-hmm.
Stupid, yeah?
Yeah. So, and I remember I had asked the question on the call, and that was the first, and you said, "What's in your stevia?" I said, "What do you mean?" And then I read it, and it was like, oh my God, it has like 10 things in it, and they all end with OL.
and like the lady who asked about salt, why is she having trouble? And it's got sugar in it. Diamond salt has sugar in it.
That's
so
crazy.
you need to be kind of meticulous, because the other thing is, this is not a forgiving diet. It is not a forgiving diet. It's not for the lighthearted at all. And the rewards are amazing, because when you make this diet work for you, what's it like, Robin?
It's like a miracle. I think it's like a miracle. It's not a cure. You still have to deal with your environment, your stuff, and you still have to heal in your body, but things quiet down. You sleep through the night. You don't have visions.
I sleep through the night. Oh my God!
All the time.
Wow! It's miraculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard for people who have not made the diet kick in to really grasp what's at their fingertips that they have to look forward to by investing the time to make the diet kick in. Now, the temptations, that's what this topic is about. And it's kind of ironic, because the gal who suggested this is Mary, who is away today. She's usually our greeter. Yeah, and she wrote me and asked me about, well, how do I deal? I go to the grocery store, and I start at one end of the grocery store, and by the time I get to the other end of the grocery store, my resistance is well worn down, and it's in the freezer section, and there's what I like. And how do I deal with that? And before I was able to write her back some ideas, she realized it. She thought, the answer is start at the other end of the store. Start at the freezer and go the other way, so I'll be past the temptation, and it'll be history. So absolutely. I used to do a lot of weight management programs, people wanting to shed weight. And one lady says, oh, I come home in the afternoon, I walk through the front door, I walk through the living room, I walk right into the kitchen, right into the refrigerator. It's just habit, it's just habit. Well, I said, well, it's easy. Instead of walking in the front door and walking through the living room and into the kitchen, climb in the back window. Change the habit. As silly as that sounds, but change the habit. But yet, there is a temptation, and when we have temptations, there's typically in our minds a little dialogue. Can you give me, you've had a dialogue. What is your dialogue like, Robin?
In my mind?
Yeah, about wanting something that's not on the diet. Tempting.
Right. Well, if it's really bad, I say, is this worth the suffering?
Well,
Weigh the cost.
What is the temptation? How does your mind tempt you? What kind of thoughts does it have?
This summer, with all the fresh fruit in the supermarket, the peaches. Well, I was able to eat some peaches, but then I went overboard.
Oh, peaches, I love them. So what does your mind say? Gee, that would really be good. I could just have one peach. I could get two peaches, whatever. Your mind goes through that kind of litany, doesn't it?
Peach, what's it gonna do?
Yeah, one little peach. What's it gonna do? One little tiny peach. What's it gonna do? Yeah, okay. So and then typically what we do when we know that it's like the little guy sitting on your shoulder, he's the good guy, and you got the devil over here tempting you, whatever, and so you have this bantering back and forth in your mind with your thoughts. Well, one little piece won't hurt, it'll be okay, whatever. So how do you deal with that? Now, some people get upset with themselves, and that causes stress. That increases hormone levels, flight or fight, and it diminishes your ability to be creative and to think and to process this. And what we often do is we end up sometimes, not often, but often, we invalidate ourselves. And we say, this is stupid. I'm committed to this diet, and I want to make it work, and so forth, and I'm being stupid. This is stupid. Well, invalidating yourself never works. Never, ever make yourself wrong. What you want to do is simply notice that your intelligence, your brain, is looking out for your best interest, what you've taught it to be your best interest. And you've taught it over and over again that you enjoy these peaches, or you enjoy this kind of candy, or you enjoy this kind of ice cream. So it has years, perhaps years, of programming that this is good, okay? And so it is just simply just suggesting what is good. Like it might suggest, hey, it might be nice to sit down and relax for a half hour. That's a good suggestion, all right? So it's suggesting, well, have some ice cream. So rather than get involved and get into a bantering and a fighting with your own brain, with your own intelligence, and invalidating yourself, you want to instead kind of really respectfully thank your intelligence for doing the best that it presently knows how. That's all. That's what it presently knows. And your next goal is to educate it. So it's kind of like, in a nice way, well, thank you. That would be nice to have that ice cream. Thank you. And I prefer to leave it there. And I'd like to forget about it. I'd like to forget about it. I'd like to forget about it. And if you flood your mind with that kind of thinking, I like to forget about it, I like to forget about it, I like to forget about it, what are you doing? You're programming your mind, and you will forget about it. Now, it's important that you avoid saying things like, I don't want to think about it. If you say, I don't want to think about it, let me demonstrate how that works just very quickly. If all of you listening to this program right now are in a position where you can stand up, I would like you to stand up right now, right where you are. Just stand up with the telephone. Okay. Now, I want you to follow my next instruction and to do exactly as I say. Please do not stand. Please do not stand. All right? Now, how many of you still are standing? Robin's still standing. Okay. So, what went on there? You know, some of you are, what the hell are you doing? You know, when I used to do group programs, I'd have about 20 or 30 people in a room, and they'd all be looking around to see what everybody else is doing, because nobody understands that language. Please do not stand. Well, if you do not stand, that means you sit down. Well, why don't you just say sit down? Well, that would be typical, right? That would be, so we say there's only one word in common with please do not stand, and I don't want to eat that. What is that word? Please do not stand, and I do not want to eat something.
Yeah, do not.
The word not. You see, it takes your intelligence longer, a third longer, and some people much longer, to figure out, to process the not, which is why you continue standing. So whenever you say to your spouse, don't forget the newspaper, when they leave in the morning, what are they going to do? They're going to forget it. The brain skips the not. So you want to focus on what you want to do. Remember to bring the newspaper. I'd like to forget about the ice cream. I want to forget, I like to forget, I want to forget it, I want to forget it, I want to forget it, rather than I don't want to eat it. I don't want to buy it. I don't, that is just a equation for self-defeat. So this is recorded. If you haven't made notes, use that litany of thought. Thank you, intelligence. You remember, your intelligence is just looking out for your best interest, and your best interest used to be to enjoy that. Whether it was healthy or not, it doesn't matter. Your best interest used to be to enjoy that. Your brain has been programmed many, many times about the enjoyment you receive from it. So rather than get into an argument with yourself, just acknowledge it, thank you, and let your intelligence know what you want. I prefer to forget about it. I prefer to forget about it. And you can remind yourself. Why? Because I'd rather be free of itching and biting than eat that. That's why. And that's the only reason I stuck with the diet, Robin stuck with the diet, or any of us make the diet work, is because we'd rather be free of itching and biting than mess up the diet. It's as simple as that.
As you move into stage 2, there are things that you can eat that would be temptations on stage 1. But even then, you need to read ingredients. Like even I have such sensitivities, and I have found that I can eat ice cream with 3 ingredients. If anything that has 3 ingredients, I'm usually pretty okay with. As long as like yeast or sugar or whatever is the last ingredient. So, you know, I learned that about my body, but it means I need to read ingredients all the time, even if I want a treat.
And keep a diary.
Diary, yeah.
In fact, when you do get to stage 2, many of you can have it. This used to be called the ice cream diet back in the 90s. I called it the ice cream diet. There are certain flavors of Haagen-Dazs, such as vanilla, chocolate chip, that are on the diet for some of us. So, yes. Okay. Well, that wraps up this segment then.